So I think it's pretty clear at this point that while overall the MCU is like a Greek Adonis, it does have an Achilles heel. It's villains! And I'm sure some of you Marvel faithful will try to defend it on this front in the comments down below. But I'm pretty damn confident that they're indefensible when it comes to villains because we're a decade in, a decade. And even when Marvel's villains are deliciously evil, they're still easily defeated. And yep, so far, one and done. I mean, there's Thanos, obviously, who we'll discuss today, but he's not even really a Marvel villain yet. He's just a Marvel tease, probably the most epic in blockbuster history. Oh, the stakes are high for you, Feige. I don't envy you. I hope you can pull it off, although I think Thanos is in good hands with the Russo brothers. But anyway, we're going to discuss Thanos. Now, yes, some other villains have stuck around, but only once achieving anti-hero status. And on that note, I'd also like to hear down below, if you're like me, and would you have liked to have seen Loki and the Winter Soldier maybe stay true villains for like a little bit longer, right? Because they were both pretty damn formidable for a hot second. Like those action sequences in the Winter Soldier, so good! And now he's just goth Bucky, right? With a will they or won't they scenario with Cap. I know that annoys some of you, but take it up with Feige. He's the one doing the queer baiting. All right, so anyway, in fact, so far the Avengers have proven to be their own worst enemies. But with Hela and Killmonger, and I'd say even the Vulture, Feige does seem to be inching ever so slowly closer to solving this problem. So today, we're going to talk about upcoming MCU villains, along with some ideas for who else could be included in the future for Marvel villainy. Now, of course, we're going to start with Thanos, because he's supposed to be a pretty big freaking deal, being hyped since 2012, right? Even with a different actor, that poor actor. And then so far, we've only really seen him sit down as Thor, I think so hilariously pointed out in the Team Thor, special feature, and also rock a glove Michael Jackson style, right? Also, yeah, and punch, I guess, Iron Man in the face. That was pretty good, though. And I even like Iron Man. Imagine how Cap fans felt about that. And now, though, it's time for him to literally step forward, played by Josh Brolin via motion capture, and he's expected to kill an Avenger, beyond humiliate them, and then maybe even bring one back to life. That'd be pretty epic. That would certainly give him a claim to fame, right, as far as not just Marvel villains, but Marvel characters go. But I suspect the real standout villains of Infinity War could be Thanos' Black Order. Oh, I'm excited! Basically, they're his merciless goon squad who are going to take over where Ronan failed, getting those Infinity Stones. Remember when Thanos said, I'll just do it myself? He actually meant outsource it to my own company, right? We're going to outsource it to a Thanos division, not an outside contractor. Now, we've seen the statues at Comic-Con, and it's Corvus Glaive, Proxima Midnight, Ebony Maw, and Cull Obsidian. And the toys, they had one for Proxima Midnight released the other day, and she looked really good. She looked great. Now, also, Feige is teasing an impressive voice cast for these four, but the motion capture work, at least body-wise, the actors that are doing the voices could do the facial movements, but body-wise, it was captured by stunt performers on set, as we've seen. And they look like they were really bringing the hurt to the Avengers, so that's very exciting. Also, the Russos are calling them the Children of Thanos, which would nicely tie them in with Gamora and Nebula's storyline emotionally. Oh, the feels. Okay. Maybe they'll recruit one. Maybe Nebula will be like, oh yeah, Dad, I totally want to be part of the Black Order, so I can stab you in the back. And you'll be like, well played, Nebula. Who I loved Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And then Karen Gillan was so good in Jumanji. I hope she has more to do. She's supposed to make a new friend, as we've discussed. All right, so anyway, beyond Thanos and his Black Order, the Captain Marvel movie, set in the 90s, will put us smack in the middle of the Kree-Skrull conflict. Maybe, who knows, a full-blown out war, right? Now, we've already met the Kree race via Ronan, and we'll meet some more, played by Jude Law and Gemma Chan in this upcoming film. But it's the shape-shifting Skrulls that show tremendous potential. Oh, Fox, don't ruin them with Dark Phoenix, with Jessica Chastain. And at least if you're gonna do them first, please get them off to a good start. Could they share the characters? I mean, they both have Quicksilver, so we'll see how it works out. But anyway, while Mystique has been known, speaking of the X-Men, to go deep undercover over in the X-Men movies, here it's likely that the Skrulls could have infiltrated the Avengers themselves. Like, imagine if for several of the X-Men movies, Mystique was actually like, I don't know, like Jean Grey, and you were like, Storm. Let's use Storm, right? And you're like, no wonder she's like, I purposely made Storm a lame character just to mess with the X-Men. And you're like, well played, Mystique. That would actually explain a lot. But anyway, that it would be like that, and that would be a really fantastic moment for the franchise. And that would be played out as Secret Invasion, either in Avengers 4 or in another movie down the line. So yes, the Avengers would technically be turning on themselves once again, but since this time some of them would actually be Skrulls instead of just in a bad mood, right? Use your words, Avengers. They won't hold back. Imagine the potential face acting. I love it. Now, beyond Thanos, the Black Order, and the Skrulls, to be fair, it's tough for the MCU to dig up other villains because their best villains are over at other studios. Even Kang! Kang! Damn. Feige really got messed up there with those contracts. But Disney's trying to piece it back together. We just have to be patient. But anyway, in the meantime, I did find 2 potential villains for them to use, which I think are both quite good. And you tell me what you think down below. So while Hydra really only gave us an awesome meme, and again, Goth Bucky, with the MCU being so hyper-focused on technology, how has AIM not come into the picture yet, right? So AIM stands for Advanced Idea Mechanics, and they are a secret group, is there any other kind, that builds tech and weapons for terrorists, rogue factions, and governments. What if Apple had like a weapons division that no one knew about? I love it. And the real goal, of course, as it always is to be the one that rules them all because they're the supplier of what gives these other groups power. And sometimes in the comics, they've worked with Hydra, which itself is a rogue faction, so that fits with their mission statement. But then also sometimes they're depicted themselves as a rogue faction of Hydra. So how's that for Russian nesting dolls? Now, AIM at least should factor into Black Panther too, right? Because AIM, I'm sure, wants vibranium and also maybe to recruit Shuri. But they could definitely, I think, level up to Avengers villain. They just need to redesign those suits. Or do they? They're kind of iconic, and Steven Spielberg made them very cool in E.T., so they could just go that route. Then, and hear me out on this, because a lot of you aren't going to like it at first, but I'm thinking the Hood, aka Parker Robbins. Now, on the face of it, this guy is a Marvel Netflix villain. But they can't afford him, and his recent appearance in the Defenders comic really inspired me, and that's part of the reason he's in this video. I mean, it's just so visually vibrant in the most recent issues of the Defenders, which, sadness, is over now because Brian Michael Bendis defected to DC. How on earth he's writing the Kitty Pryde movie still at Fox? I don't know. Ike Perlmutter, who's, I think, been forced to step back, must still be like popping a vein over that. All right, so anyway, Parker Robbins, aka the Hood. He's been powered by Infinity Stones, that ties in. And he's also been powered by Norn Stones that he got from Loki, right? But what I really like is his Doctor Strange style cloak, complete with hood. It completes the ensemble. And an amulet, also kind of like Doctor Strange, right? This one, it could also be an Infinity Stone maybe, right? There's a history of that. But which basically gave him demonic-fueled powers, including teleportation and impressive blasts. He also has some cool Lara Croft-style guns. But what I like most about Parker Robbins is the Hood is his ambition. He just wants his piece of the pie. He's a little like Michael Keaton's The Vulture in that way. So I see the Hood as a potential Doctor Strange villain, right? Cape versus cape, or cloak versus cloak. Or really any MCU character, as this is a shared universe after all, right? And then finally, Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch, right? She's on the board already, and they've hinted at this, that she's going to potentially be a villain, you know, with Vision having to keep an eye on her, right? But I hope they go there. Because remember when she and her brother were like, again, blink and you'll miss it, villains? Let's go back to that. And in the comics, Scarlet Witch is one of the Avengers' greatest villains, but not because she's unable to control her powers like in Civil War. In fact, she's way too good at using her powers, and when she loses her mind, she rips apart reality and remakes it as she sees fit. And this could be a really interesting and organic way for the MCU. And really, you know, the DCEU has tried to do this, but apparently only the MCU can take these kinds of risks and succeed. Only the audience only seems to have faith in them. But they can explore one of comic books' favorite traditions, and that's alternate realities. That would be just spectacular. Maybe Fox could pull off an alternate reality. They did it a little bit with X-Men Days of Future Past, but I'm talking like a hardcore for a full movie. It's the A storyline, alternate reality. They're so much fun. I believe that movie-going audiences who don't read comics could get into them if they're set up, if the time is taken up to set them up properly and they're truly explored. They're really cool. So yeah, that would be more Avengers fighting Avengers, but until that Fox deal goes through, Feige doesn't have a lot of options. So what do you think? How do you feel about Marvel's villainous future? Share your thoughts down below, and as always, you can check out some more videos right now.